There's a stretch of highway between here and the coast that doesn't appear on any map. I know because I've driven it. I've driven it 40 times now, and every time the road gets a little longer. The trees get a little closer, and the thing that stands at the mile marker, the one that's supposed to say 40 but never does, gets a little better at pretending to be human. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me start at the beginning, because if I don't tell someone the whole thing, I'm going to get back in my car tonight. And I don't think I'll come back from the 40th trip. My name is Sam. I'm a delivery driver for a pharmaceutical company. It's not a glamorous job, but it pays the bills, and I like the solitude. Most nights, I'm behind the wheel from 10 p.m. until 6 a.m., driving along back roads and forgotten highways, dropping off medication at 24-hour pharmacies and rural clinics. I've been doing it for about 3 years. I know every pothole, every deer crossing, every gas station bathroom with a broken lock. But there's one road I didn't know. One road I wasn't supposed to find. It was a Tuesday in late October. I was running behind schedule. A flat tire at the depot had cost me an hour, and I needed to shave some time off my route. My GPS suggested an alternate path, a small highway that cut through a state forest, shaving about 20 miles off the trip. I'd never seen it before, but the GPS insisted it was there. I shrugged and took the exit. At first, it was fine. The road was 2 lanes, freshly paved, with those reflective markers that glow in your headlights. No street lights, no houses, just trees on either side pressing close. I turned off my radio because the reception was nothing but static. The silence was comfortable. I'd driven 1,000 dark roads before. Then I passed the first mile marker. It was a simple green sign, the kind you see on rural highways, but instead of a number, it had a word. 1, not the numeral, the word. Written in a font I didn't recognize, slightly crooked, like someone had painted it by hand. I slowed down, squinting in my rearview mirror. The sign was still there, glowing faintly in my taillights. 1. I told myself it was a quirky local thing. Some towns do that. I kept driving. The second mile marker said twa, then 3, then 4. Each one handwritten, each one slightly more faded than the last. By the time I reached the 10th marker, my hands were sweating on the steering wheel. The road had narrowed. The trees had changed. Their branches were reaching over the asphalt now, forming a kind of tunnel. My headlights cut through the dark, but the light seemed to get swallowed before it hit the ground. I tried to turn around. There was no shoulder, no turnoff, no driveway. The road behind me looked the same as the road ahead. I checked my GPS. The screen was blank. No map, no route, just a pulsing blue dot in a sea of gray. The estimated time of arrival was flashing. 40 minutes, 40 minutes, 40 minutes. Over and over, I drove faster. The mile markers kept coming. 11, 12, 13. Each one was written in a different color. Red, blue, green, purple. Like a child had been given a box of crayons and told to mark the way. The trees were so close now that I could hear branches scraping against the side of my van. A high, thin squeal that sounded almost like laughter. 20, 21, 22. I started counting along with the signs. I don't know why. Maybe because it gave me something to focus on besides the growing sense that I was no longer in control of the vehicle. The steering wheel felt loose. The accelerator was sticky, and the road ahead seemed to curve in ways that didn't make sense. Turns that should have doubled back on themselves. Hills that went down when they should have gone up. 28, 29, 30. At 30, the road widened. The trees pulled back, and I found myself in a small clearing. There was a gas station. Old-fashioned, the kind with 2 pumps and a single garage bay. The lights were on inside the little shop, and I could see a figure behind the counter. A man, or what looked like a man. Tall, thin, wearing a red cap. I almost pulled in. I was running on empty, not just the gas gauge, which had been hovering just above E for the past 10 miles. But me, I was exhausted. My eyes were burning. My hands were cramping, but something stopped me. The sign above the gas station. It said 40, just the number, and underneath, in smaller letters, last stop before the end. I kept driving. 31, 32, 33. The forest closed in again. The branches were thicker now, covered in something that looked like moss but moved. I couldn't look directly at it. Every time I tried, my vision blurred, and I felt a sharp pain behind my eyes. The road began to slope downward, steeper and steeper, until I had to press the brake to keep from accelerating too fast. My ears popped. The temperature inside the van dropped. I could see my breath. 34, 36, and then I saw the figure. It was standing at the side of the road just past the 36th mile marker. A woman. She was wearing a white dress, the kind you'd see in an old photograph, and her hair was dark and long. She was facing away from me, but her head was turned slightly, like she was listening. I slowed down. I don't know why. Every instinct told me to floor it, but my foot lifted off the gas, as if someone else was controlling it. The woman turned. Her face was beautiful. That was the terrifying part. Not missing features, not rotting skin, not empty eye sockets. She was beautiful in a way that hurt to look at, like staring into the sun. Her eyes were dark, and her mouth was curved into a soft smile. She raised one hand and pointed down the road. Toward the next mile marker, I rolled down my window. The air that rushed in smelled like flowers and dirt and something else. Something sweet and rotten, like honey left out too long. "You're almost there," she said. Her voice was warm, kind, the voice of a grandmother or a favorite teacher. "Just 4 more. 4 more what?" I asked. My voice cracked. She tilted her head. "Miles, markers, steps, it doesn't matter. Just keep counting. 40 is the number you're looking for. 40 is the door." I rolled up my window and drove. I didn't look at her again, but I could feel her watching me in my side mirror. Her white dress glowed in the dark. And then, as I passed the 37th marker, she was gone. 37, 38, 39. The 40th mile marker was different. It wasn't a sign on a post. It was a person. A child, maybe 8 years old, standing in the middle of the road. He was wearing blue pajamas with little rocket ships on them, and he was holding a piece of paper. My headlights illuminated him perfectly. He wasn't blinking. He wasn't breathing. He was just standing there, staring at me with eyes that were too large and too dark. I slammed on the brakes. The van skidded to a stop inches from his legs. I sat there, shaking, my hands welded to the wheel. The child walked toward my window. He didn't move his legs. He glided like he was on a conveyor belt. He pressed the paper against the glass. On it, written in crayon, were the words, "You have to count the 40." I opened my mouth. I don't know what I was going to say. Maybe 40, maybe help, maybe nothing at all. But before I could make a sound, the child spoke. Not out loud, he said. "In here." He touched his chest, his heart, and then he touched the glass, and I felt something cold press against my own chest, inside my ribs. A counting. 1, 2, 3, all the way to 39, and then a pause. A long, aching pause where my heart didn't beat. "Say it," the child whispered. "Just once, and you can go home." I didn't say it. I don't know if it was courage or cowardice. Maybe just stubbornness. I threw the van into reverse and floored it. The tires screamed. The child didn't move. He stood there, watching me as I reversed down that dark road. Mile marker 39 passed on my right, then 38, then 37. The road began to trees thinned, the air warmed, and suddenly, I was back on the highway I knew. The GPS flickered to life. The estimated time of arrival was 22 minutes, a normal number, a safe number. I drove home in a daze. I didn't sleep. I sat in my apartment with all the lights on, staring at the wall, replaying every second of that drive. By morning, I had convinced myself it was a hallucination. Sleep deprivation, stress, a minor stroke maybe. I went to the doctor. He ran tests. Everything came back normal. That was 6 months ago. I've driven that route 39 more times since then. I know. You're thinking I'm insane. Maybe I am. But the first time it happened, I thought I'd imagined it. The second time, I thought I could study it, understand it, find a logical explanation. The third time, I realized I couldn't stop. The road calls to me. Not every night, but often enough. It appears on my GPS when I'm tired, when I'm distracted, when I'm sad. And every time I take the exit. Every time I drive through the tunnel of trees. Every time I pass the woman in the white dress, and she tells me I'm almost there. And every time I get to the 40th mile marker and the child is waiting. And every time I refuse to say the number. I reverse back down the road and I go home. And I tell myself that was the last time, but it's not. Because last night something changed. I was on my 39th trip. The road was the same. The trees, the gas station, the woman. Everything was the same until I reached the 40th marker. The child was there in his blue pajamas, but he wasn't holding a piece of paper. He was holding a key, an old brass key, the kind that opens a door you don't want to find. "You've been here 39 times, he said. "That means you owe me one more. The 40th time, you don't get to reverse. The 40th time you say the number, or you stay." I tried to reverse. The van didn't move. I tried to open the door. It was locked. The child walked around to the driver's side and pressed his hand against the glass. His palm left a print, not in condensation. In frost, the glass cracked. "Next time," he said, "I won't ask." He disappeared. The road behind me reappeared. I drove home on autopilot, and I've been in my apartment ever since. That was 24 hours ago. I've unplugged my GPS. I've taken the battery out of my phone. I've parked my van 3 blocks away and covered it with a tarp. But I can still hear it, the road, calling me. It's in the hum of the refrigerator. It's in the static between radio stations. It's in the silence when I close my eyes. Tonight will be the 40th time. I don't have a choice anymore. The road is going to find me, whether I want it to or not. I can feel it pulling at the edges of my consciousness, the way a tide pulls at the shore. Slow, inevitable. I'm writing this because I need someone to know what happened. If you ever see a road that doesn't appear on any map, don't take the exit. Don't count the mile markers. And whatever you do, don't let it get to 40. Because the child isn't a child. The woman isn't a woman. They're just numbers. Numbers that learned how to wear skin. I hear my van starting outside. The engine is running. The headlights are on. I didn't do that. The GPS is speaking. A woman's voice, warm and kind. "In 400 feet, turn left." I'm not going to turn left. I'm going to sit here and type until my fingers bleed. But my hands are already reaching for the front door. My keys are already in my pocket. And somewhere on a dark road between here and the coast, the 40th mile marker is waiting. The child is holding the key. And the woman is smiling. They've been counting on me to come back. 39 times I refused. But 40? 40 is different. 40 is the number of days it took for the flood. 40 is the number of years in the wilderness. 40 is the number of times you can say no before the answer becomes yes. My front door just opened by itself. I can see the road from here. It's not a road anymore. It's a mouth, and I'm already inside it. 1, 2, 3.